Hello everyone, welcome to a sort of different video for me than I have ever created before, and that is because I find myself in a very different season of life than I have ever been in. I am a homemaker and a mother, and that is what I am on 100% right now, and I honestly love it. I feel like I'm doing exactly what I am supposed to be doing. However, this is new for me. I have never been a stay-at-home mom without my husband home alongside me. And I have struggled my way through it, but I feel like I've had a breakthrough and I am finally setting up systems in my home that make homemaking run so much smoother, make my family's lives run so much smoother. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about creating systems in your home that make sense, that make life easier. And I'm also going to be just puttering around the house and doing my daily things that need to be done, like dishes and baking bread and cooking dinner. But also, I will sneak in some projects that I have been meaning to tackle. One area is the freezer. I need to go through it, see what I have, set up a different system because it's just not working. And I'm also going to go through our shoe/coat closet and just talk you through my process and my thoughts on how I can make that space more functional. Right now I am making some sourdough bread. I try and make this weekly, although I kind of got out of the habit of it for a little while. So I've got my starter out of the fridge and I am planning on making this weekly moving forward, but I'm actually trying something different this time. I am making 100% fresh milled flour sourdough, and this will be a different product than what I'm used to. Fresh milled flour doesn't give the same rise that white flour does, but I love any chance I get to use my mill to feed my family fresh milled flour because it is so nutritious and so good for you. So right now I'm using my harvest mill and I'm grinding some hard white wheat berries. I get these from a place called Azure Standard. I have the link to both of these things in the description box below, but I'm milling up my flour right now and then I'm going to mix my dough together. All right, let's get back to talking about creating those systems in my home that makes life just run so much smoother. So like I said, I do feel like I'm doing exactly what I am supposed to be doing. I feel like my role as a wife and a mother and a homemaker is so fulfilling to me. But that's not to say that it hasn't come a little bit difficult for me. One area that I feel like is not something that's working is cleaning. I feel like, I don't know if you've seen the video, but there's this video of a guy who has a mop and he's trying to mop the ocean as the waves are rolling in. So clearly he's working really hard, but he is never going to make any progress. That's how I feel like things are going in the cleaning department of my home. I feel like all this cleaning is taking time away from what is important to me. That's my kids, my husband, just my peace of mind, my sanity. So I have come to the conclusion that I want to declutter, so much declutter. We have so much stuff. I'm not even sure how we got so much stuff. And I also want to reconfigure the systems that I do have in my home to be more efficient systems, like this freezer, for example. There's so much stuff in here that the ice cream is no longer freezing. So side tangent, what I'm doing here is I'm taking everything out of the freezer and I'm only going to put things in this freezer that we use on a daily basis. We use on a regular basis. So I'm going to have meats in here because we use meats often, but anything that is we may or may not use it is not allowed to stay in this freezer because it's too much to manage, taking up space. One day maybe I'll get to where I have a bulk food storage system and that would include the freezer, but even then I wanted to stick to basics, things I know we're going to eat and go through. So I'm going to be cleaning the freezer, but let's get back to this. My goal is to be able to tidy my entire house in 30 to 45 minutes. Right now, if somebody says they're coming over, I have to start a couple days in advance with the cleaning. Otherwise, I will never get it done. And that is unacceptable. I want to feel free to have people come over to my house, and I know that I can get a good enough cleaning, tidying done in 30 to 45 minutes. I think that's totally possible. I don't want to spend so much time cleaning that I have to tell my kids, hold on, let me finish this first. Or I don't want to put off projects because I'm constantly cleaning up the same ridiculous messes. And that's another thing that I've been doing. I have a garden that I really want to get planted, but I haven't had time because I have to address the house. We live in the house. We don't live in the garden. The garden's not a priority, but it is a project I want to get to. So I need to come up with some better systems. I know that cleaning is inevitable because there's basics that always have to be done, like the dishes and wiping down countertops and laundry and the floors. Like, there's things that have to get done, but I'm talking outside of that, picking up the same messes over and over again that are just unnecessary. To me, it all boils down to having too much stuff. I have too much stuff that my kids can get out and mess up. I have too much for me to manage. My kids, yes, they can help, and they do help me clean up. But if it's too much for me to clean up, I'm thinking of my daughter's bedroom right now. I don't even want to go in there. I don't want to address it right now because it's too much for me. If it's too much for me, it is way too much for her. I am going to be talking about how I came to this realization, my aha moment for things aren't working, but I figured out what I need to do differently. I'm going to share what made that happen in just a second. But one area that I do really want to significantly cut back on things is my kids' stuff, my kids' toys. I have seen from experience my kids, or firsthand I guess, my kids do better with less stuff. They do better with intentional things. And so from now on, once I declutter their toys, I am going to be very intentional with what I bring into my home. One of those toys that falls perfectly into this category, and it's a toy that my kids have been playing with nonstop, but it also was very educational for them, so it's kind of a win-win in my book, is the building toy subscriptions from Crunch Labs, which brings us to our sponsor for today's video, which is Crunch Labs. I want to say thank you to Crunch Labs for sponsoring today's video. So Crunch Labs is something that I'm very excited to be doing with my children this summer. Crunch Labs Build Box is a STEM subscription. So STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. So basically it is a STEM subscription where you get a really cool build-it-yourself toy in the mail. For the summer, Crunch Labs is hosting Camp Crunch Labs. Camp Crunch Labs is where kids get 12 build-it-yourself toys shipped every single week. Plus, they get access to exclusive Mark Rober videos. So Mark Rober is the one who leads Crunch Labs. He also is a former NASA engineer, and he also creates incredible YouTube videos. So you're gonna get access to exclusive Mark Rober videos, plus weekly challenges that are chock full of the juiciest engineering nuggets yet, which means that our kids' brains are growing all summer long. Camp Crunch Labs starts in June, so make sure that you join soon. Mark will assign 6 challenges, and he will choose a winner from each submission posted to social media for each challenge. And one lucky winner will get to visit Crunch Labs and be in the final summer video with Mark Rober. Camp Crunch Labs' slogan is least boring summer ever. And my kids, as y'all know, have been homeschooling with me since January, and we are kind of used to doing stuff, learning stuff, and as soon as summer hits, that all kind of goes away. And while I do think that there is value in resting and taking breaks, kids are kids. They're always busy, they're always on the go, and honestly, even while they're playing, they're always learning. But sometimes they need some help and guidance in knowing what to do with their summer. And so I thought that this
Camp Crunch Labs would be perfect for my kids because they're gonna get 12 weekly boxes, something to look forward to. And while they think it's just something really fun to build and play with, I know that there's science behind it and technology and things that they are going to be learning, filling their brains with, and they're going to be able to take this into the rest of their lives with them.
Some of the builds my kids have done so far is a disc luncher, air ball, and trampoline ball, and all of these are very unique and fascinating and fun, and my kids have been playing with them nonstop.
If you think that Camp Crunch Labs would be something that your kids would enjoy too, you can go to crunchlabs.com/Allie
and sign your kids up for Camp Crunch Labs today. Purchase this limited Camp Crunch Labs subscription and get 2 boxes for free, and that's a $60 value. Let me now share with you my aha moment when I realized that things and systems were just not working in my home, and also kind of when I realized like what it was that needed to be done about it. So realization hit when one day I was running late to piano lessons, and my kids, when they're at piano lessons, play in the creek while sister's doing her piano. So I have to bring extra clothes, extra towels, and their water shoes. But I couldn't find any of their shoes. Like I had one shoe here and one shoe there, but no matches. And what I did find that were matches were just filthy. I had left them outside with the intention of cleaning them up, but a year later they had never been cleaned up. So the shoes were just chaos. And of course I'm running late, which is another issue I need to address. We have a shoe closet that has so many shoes in it, and I'll show you the shoe closet, but they were all just thrown in there. A lot of them were too small. They were from, last year or whatever. So I realized in this moment that I needed to create a better system for the shoes so that this does not happen again. So not that day, but one day very soon, I did end up tackling that closet. I pulled everything out that was too small or didn't need to be in there, like winter shoes. I got a behind the door organizer. Actually already had it in my son's closet, but it was not being used up there because we just don't keep our shoes in the bedrooms. We keep them downstairs by the door, in a closet by the door, because that makes sense. Like, we don't wear shoes in the house, so that's the perfect location for it. That part does work, but I digress. So I put the shoe organizer behind the door, and now the shoes are all organized, so even the kids can put them away. But I also have just way less in there. So now it's easy to find what I need and also easy to put it back in order really fast. That is a prime example of a system that is working for my family. But I also have realized that I need to check in on the shoes regularly to see what the kids have grown out of and what they need new of, wash them all up to make sure that they're ready to be worn, because if they're dirty, we're not going to put them on the kids' feet, so it's just sitting there not being used. Here I am showing you systems that do work for my family. So we have this TV stand, which is actually a buffet table, and there's 3 drawers in it, and I have hair stuff in the top drawer because we do hair down here, not in the bathrooms. I have pull-ups in one drawer because this is where we put the pull-ups on. And I also have socks in this drawer because, like I said, we put our shoes on downstairs by the door. This is kind of in that area where we get the kids dressed. This makes sense to keep our socks here. So these are systems that work. Here's that shoe closet. I have created a system for it. I'm putting the shoes back where they go because, of course, they do kind of get thrown in there on occasion when people are in a hurry. But see how quick it is for me to set it back in order, reset the closet basically. One thing that I do need to do, and I'm going to do that right now, it only took me 15 minutes, but I'm going through all the coats in this closet. We still have all our winter coats in here, And I also realized that we have duplicates that we just do not need. Me personally had 3 rain jackets. I only need 1 rain jacket. So I took out 2. I'm going to donate those. My husband had multiple rain jackets. Now, I'm not the one who's able to make the decisions on what stays and what goes for that, but I did pull out the extras that I know he doesn't really wear that are a little older, and I'm going to ask him what he wants to do with these. But they don't need to be in this closet. They'll go somewhere else. And also, we keep our pool towels up here in the top of the closet, and because we have a pool, and this is the perfect spot for it, but there were some extra things up here that didn't need to be up here. So there was a bag of dog treats, and there was also a bicycle water holder. I took those out. Those don't need to go here. Much better. This closet is back to functioning. There's way less in it. There's only things in here that we need. And that's the perfect example of what I want every area in my home to look like. The shoes were a system that were causing me stress, or it was a lack of a system. And there's a lot of things like this that are a system that can make or break how my house runs, how my kids run, and my mental load. My goal is to tackle the most pressing systems first and then eventually tackle them all. And I know that it's possible. So one system that used to be a hot mess and also non-existent is meal planning and grocery shopping. I used to go to think of the meal that we were going to have the night of, and then I would go to the grocery store every single day, and we don't live close to a grocery store. Now I meal plan once a week, and I try to only grocery shop once a week, and I do grocery pickups so that I don't have to take my 3 kids into the store, which I can. They have become actually very well behaved at that, but I don't prefer to do it if I don't have to. One thing that I'm not in the position to do yet, but I want to do soon, is to buy meat in bulk, and that will go into the freezer. Grocery store meat is getting more and more questionable, and I also just want to be able to pull from my freezer as I need. So my freezer's now all ready for that when I feel like I'm at the point to do that. I also feel like our laundry system is okay, but I do think that we have too many clothes. My kids have too many clothes. A lot that's just dirty can be retired, too small. I don't know how to declutter the kids' clothes though, because I feel like their clothes get so dingy and stained so fast that if I only had a few items, they would get too yucky too soon. And we live out in the country, so that happens really fast. But I was thinking maybe then I could just replace them more often, like get them from Walmart and replace them more often. I don't know. Maybe some of y'all have an idea for me. If you keep a minimalish wardrobe for your kids, how do you keep their kids looking clean and fresh? My boys especially are super hard on their clothes because they play outside, but it just sounds so amazing to have a few pieces of clothing per child to wash, to hang up, to put away, to keep track of. So send me all y'all's ideas. I know that there's got to be a way to do it better. I was listening to the Clutterbug podcast, and one of her latest episodes was talking about how surfaces should be lava. And this is going to help keep your house tidy. So the concept is you don't set something down on the counter because it's lava, or the floor, it's lava. You have to put it back in its home. And when she said that, I looked up at my counter and I looked at this basket of eggs, which I love, and it helps keep my eggs organized because I sell most of them. But then I was like, wait a second, I hate this here. It's taking up counter space. This is actually something that could either be hung on the wall or set over on this table. So immediately I moved it over there and I love it. They're so much better. It opened up so much space on my counter. But then I also came over to this coffee station and I put away the milk frother because we don't use that very often. So it doesn't need to be sitting on the countertop. This counter looks so much better now. It makes me so happy and it just feels tidier. I am totally going to be implementing that surfaces is lava concept and see how much tidier my home feels. I never did mention what I'm making for dinner. This is one that I have made over and over again. It's so yummy. It's ground turkey, black beans, corn, taco seasoning, and salt, and then roasted sweet potatoes with sour cream and hot sauce, and it is Such a comforting meal, so easy to make, affordable, and really yummy. So that's what we had for dinner tonight. Thank you all for joining me today and taking the time to listen while I opened up about systems in my home that are and are not working for me and my plan to take back my home. I love y'all and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.